Hello, I'm Robert, and I'm here with my friend, mentor, and colleague Julie. Say hello, Julie.
Hi Rob, hi everyone.
Hi, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm fine today, thank you.
Good.
Yes,
So, following on from last week, we thought we would talk about this thing called life purpose. And you know as well as I do, I was looking for my life purpose, and I'm sure you have looked for your life purpose. So, let's
yes,
examine what life purpose is, how easy it can be, and how people listening to this might actually be able to get themselves on track to find their own life purpose. What do you think about that?
yes. Oh, yes, definitely. It is this funny cliche, isn't it? I want to find, this word
Yeah,
we've just been saying about that. I want to find my life purpose. I don't, people will say, I don't know what my purpose is, and I'm trying. It's as if they're striving to look to the outside for this, sort of undefined, great, magnificent thing that's, my own purpose and your own purpose. And I feel, Rob, as we've, as we've both been going along in our own lives, what it feels now is actually our purpose is with us all the time. It's inside us all the time. And it doesn't seem that it's this feeling that you need to strive to find this thing that you're never going to find, this purpose. But all you need to do is just keep taking little steps at a time to work into. Okay, if you have that big question, what is my purpose? Because we've all done that. We've both done that. I'm sure everybody's done that. That why don't we just look at, hang on a minute, let's just see over time, have I actually been working on my purpose all this time? Is my purpose there with me? And what feels missing? Why would I feel that I'm not working on purpose? So I feel, don't know about you, but I feel that, this sort of quest for purpose is the first thing we need to kind of remove that block of that I've never found it, because
yeah,
it feels like really our purpose is something that grows with us and grows and develops as we grow and develop, and we learn skills and techniques to help us get on track with this so-called purpose. It's like looking for the holy grail. It's inside us all the time. We don't need to
yeah.
look outside. So this holy grail of our big defining purpose just might not be what we thought it was. And instead it could just be, who is Julie, who is Rob, and what is it individually we are meant to be on earth at this time for, and what is it we are meant to be together in communities on this earth for. And I think that's another part of what a problem is, and what's going on is we think we have to figure everything out ourselves, and this great dawning purpose that our soul will suddenly come to us and sort of save us in that way and say, Julie, this is what your purpose is.
Yeah,
But instead, what we found, Rob, is along the way, what I found is I look back on all, if we look at purpose as partly as some as your work, because that's what a lot of people will think of, not necessarily just the other side of our lifestyle, the other side of how we live. But if we think of it as the work part of purpose, I look back on all the things I've done, and some of it, most of it, in fact, it's happened accidentally. It's happened. I've just gone in. I've lost my job a few times, and then gone into either other teams or got another job. And at that moment in time, as soon as you've gone into the other job, you almost find, it's the best thing that could have ever happened to me. And so you just work through, what is it I've been doing, as a job, where it's almost as if soul did direct you, but you didn't hear soul, but the soul just gently guided you. Let's just leave this job and let's go for this. And if you're not leaving this job, let's kick it into touch. Let's make you redundant. And
Kick
that
into
could be the
touch
worst
indeed.
thing in the
Yeah,
world. Yeah, that
yeah.
could be the worst thing in the world. And it doesn't feel like purpose, does it? That doesn't feel like, how can you think, oh, that's my purpose, to be made redundant? But in actual fact, it then makes you listen, and it makes you work into more of what you should be doing. Do you
Absolutely.
Do you want to talk about, things like, like our soul contracts before birth with this, Rob, and how this might
Yes,
define
I
us?
think we should, and I hope people aren't scared by the thinking behind it. Just in terms of what you were saying as well, find our sole purpose implies that we've lost it,
Mm,
and so it's just a semantic thing there. We haven't
yeah.
lost anything at all. We might have misplaced it,
Yeah,
or we
that's a
might
good word.
have, yeah. Or I think many of us succumb to the pressure of life, practical life.
Mm. Yeah,
We have to pay mortgages, we have to bring
yeah.
up children, we have to do the school run, we have to cook, all these things that make us busy people
Mm,
and make us think, oh, I've lost my purpose. This can't be what it's all about. So we don't join up the dots. And
exactly.
and your kick into touch is what I call the universe giving you a kick in the pants
Yes.
and showing you that you are in fact are on the right path. You're just not noticing it.
Yes.
So
Yeah, we don't listen.
going back then, Julie, to what you said about the soul contract, um, I think it's a fairly common belief, and it's certainly my belief, and I think yours, that when we are born, we come into this earth as a new baby, but with a contract, with an
Yes,
agreement
definitely. Mm,
from our original source to achieve a certain amount of tasks. And these aren't practical little tasks.
yes.
It's not a tick box that you have to go through. It's just that your life needs to take you on a journey that allows you to end it at a better place.
Oh, definitely.
So,
Yes.
how do we relate as social beings? How do we fit into our communities? How do we help each other? How do we assist people who might not have the ease of life that we have? So all along the way, instead of going, oh, I need a better job, because that's what I'm about, it's never mind the job. What about the people around me? What do they need to hear? What support do they need? Yeah, and you were telling me earlier, Julie, that you felt you'd always been the kind of person people turn to ask for directions or similar.
Exactly. That's
And
right. Yeah.
yeah, and in my case, people have always turned to me to ask for advice on issues that I, quite frankly, was not competent to give them advice on. But somehow,
But you
I
did.
think I managed to channel something that was useful to them.
Yes.
So
And we
it's a
and we look at
question for me of
where does
simplifying. Go on.
yeah. I was gonna say, and we look at where does that channel suddenly come from? Where do you suddenly get that? And that's the thing when you think,
Yeah,
this is like a character, in your character that suddenly something does come within us, something does bubble up inside, doesn't it, Rob? And
absolutely.
we
And
just
that's
know
always
what
been
to
there,
do. Mm.
but as humans, we're very good at suppressing it.
Oh
So,
yes, yeah.
if I'd said, oh, people always come to me for advice and I really can't be bothered, I could have just sat on that. But
Mm,
something in me from an early age, and I'm glad of this, made me realize that that was a function I had. And it's definitely carried
absolutely.
me through my own spiritual journey and my
Mm.
own understanding of what my purpose is, if it's any different to anyone else's.
Yeah.
You know, why are we
Yeah.
all on a different journey, or are we all really gunning for the same result?
And that's what we keep looking at, isn't it? And if, my thoughts are, in actual fact, we're all going for the same goal, and that is, that this purpose is something we can say it's bigger than us. We want to, we have, I'm sure anybody listening here, you have that absolute urge to help somebody in some way. So we're all here to help. This bigger purpose is we're here to help humanity, let's say, to help each other and help others to to better themselves, to be happy in themselves. When we say to better themselves, it is only to to find those missing jigsaw pieces, the missing puzzle of what's not making you happy, for instance,
Yep,
and why life isn't going the way you want it. But it is, it does feel in some way it'll help you. And then just the slight difference in our purpose is how we go about it and our character traits. And so for me, my thing, it was similar to Rob's, but mine was always giving directions. It wasn't advice. People used to, just strangers in the street, I've had it in, when I went to Paris, I've had it when I went to Norfolk. I don't live in those places. I've only been once. And people would stop me in the street and just ask me for directions. And what did I do? I actually would say, "Well, I'm going that way. I think we'll try and find it with you." So they'd be looking for somewhere, looking for destination B, and I went over and above, just going, "Oh, I think it's that way, or I think it's that way." I went, "Do you know what? Let's see if we can find it." And I was even saying before, I was in an airport. I don't go in airports very often. Love flying, love it, but I don't go that often. I was just in an airport looking at the board, and somebody asked me, when's the next flight to so and so? So I was trying to help them. And I think I maybe should have, got them to just say, please go to a member of staff. But I also feel like there's that attraction, isn't it? We have that inside us, and people are attracted to us to do that. I've even been, in a sort of in a chemist, and somebody was asking me where something was on a shelf, and I was bent down on the looking at myself on the bottom row, and as I got up I said, well, I think you might need to see a member of staff, and they went, oh, I thought you worked here. Oh, I didn't even have the uniform on or anything. So it is that attraction that as much as we want to help others, we are attracting that. So that will come in our purpose. We find that, don't we, Rob? That I mean, certainly with you, when you first found me, Robin, I think it's a couple of
Yep,
years ago now.
it
It's
is.
probably all the odds were against it on my little website, and
Yeah,
you were searching high and low, and look what's happened now with
yeah,
this. That one thing Soul will help is pushers, but pushers in what feels like an indirect way. If we work in alignment, as we call it, if we go on that soul's path and don't fight against it. So maybe
absolutely.
it's,
Yeah,
yeah, so it probably leads us quite nicely into why do we, I'm going to say fight, why do we, you know, block ourselves from finding this big purpose of ours. Why do
indeed.
we
Yeah,
stop ourselves?
yeah, absolutely. The big word for me is fear.
Yeah,
Is I'm
absolutely.
frightened of what that truth might be.
Yeah.
Preconditioning from all sorts of, how we're taught as human beings from birth really onward to do things a certain way and to not accept certain things and to force our brains to accept things that we don't actually really think are real.
Mm,
So I think there's a lot of taboos to break to be able to get to the point where you are ready to go, okay, I have a purpose, you have a purpose, we all have a purpose, let's get on with it. you
definitely.
know and so I hope that you and I can start people who might be at that point on that journey, because it's quite easy.
Yes,
And
yes.
there's no point in making a mystery out of it or expecting a revelation to suddenly come upon you.
Mhm.
It's that seesaw and shifting the balance on the fulcrum. Like, I don't want to be this way because it's not fulfilling me, so start to tip the other way, but
Yes.
do it in bits, go slow.
Oh yes, go slow. We both were saying earlier that we do, I have never, you have as well, Rob. I've never been somebody who says, "Oh, all you need to do is just leave your current job and everything will fall into place." No, I have never known that to work. We still have sort of human actions, the 3D
Yeah,
action, the tasks to do. And one thing we were saying is just, in terms of starting slowly, if there's something where, say you work in an office, I've heard this before, and somebody works in an office, and there's nothing wrong with offices. I worked for 25, nearly 30 years in an office, and it shaped me. And so one of the things you can do is, instead of saying, oh, I'd like to do dog walking. Somebody said, I'd like to, try dog walking. But immediately what happens is they put a barrier up to that because they said, oh, but there's no money in it. Well, if I could tell them, I know now there's a few people who do dog walking. One in particular earns about, I think, about £10,000 a month. Then maybe you could maybe say,
mm-hmm.
there is some money in that if you're happy to earn £10,000 a month at that level. So, we put that block in, and like you say, Rob, all from conditioning that you have to get yourself. I've always had this given to me. You have to get yourself a proper job in
Yeah,
order to survive and in order to work and pay the mortgage, etc. And that's what we're dealing with pretty much now, is all this. I mean, the conditioning. we were talking earlier, but you said it came from, thousands of years ago where our conditioning is, it feels that it's something we have to do to struggle and strive to make ends meet. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't feel that that's something that we would have come down on Earth or, lived on Earth as part of our purpose to do. It feels like our purpose is to sort of overcome all of that with using, let's say, the tools that we've been learning so far, and some of this, sort of being more aware of what is possible and what we can do now. It's, the world now is opening up to many possibilities. It's actually the most, for me, it feels like the most fantastic time to be in this world where we have a chance to change things around. Let's call it the timeline. But to change our own personal things around, that's the main thing. Change us personally,
Yeah.
rather than trying to change the world, because that feels too overwhelming. And what we know now is if we change us, we're just going to create a ripple effect. So let's concentrate each individually on our own purposes, and that does mean to help others, like you and I, Rob.
Yeah.
We help others with their purpose, if you want to call it that.
But that's exactly what I would call it.
Mm. Mm.
And you're right. It's that proper job thing as well, isn't it? I'm proud to say I've never had a proper job, really, and not as people would define it. I've always done what I wanted to do, for better or for worse. But I've always done it, and I've always followed my own instinct. This is what I want to do, and a lot of eyebrows have been raised at choices
Yes.
I've made, but I don't regret one of them.
Oh, it just
I
sounds
really,
brilliant.
really don't regret one of them for a second. It's not all worked, but most have. And if I were to draw a timeline backward now and sort of peg the big events of my own life, every single one of those pegs would come with some kind of realization,
Yes.
some kind of
Yes.
upgrade, if we want to call it an upgrade, a change of thinking, but definitely an elevation of thinking that's allowed me to take my gut instinct into the next reality.
Oh, that's amazing.
So yeah,
Amazing.
yeah, and it's not long now since I've really thought that. I've kind of known it, the back of my mind. You know, some people said, "Oh, he just wings it," and yeah, fair point. Maybe I did wing it in that I did what I wanted to do when I wanted to do, and it's worked out. But I wouldn't want to be another way. And that realization now has allowed me to be absolutely open about what I believe and to share my belief and help other people. And I wouldn't be here if I hadn't done what I did. And that applies to everybody,
Oh,
absolutely
yes.
everybody.
Mm.
So one of my tips for people is always do that backward exercise and go, why 5 years ago did that happen to me? And how did it change me? And nobody will tell you it changed them for the worse.
Mm. I
Yeah.
absolutely agree. I,
In their
I
bigger
would say
picture,
the
you
same.
know,
Yeah.
yeah, they might have gone through a crisis of some sort, but that crisis will have delivered them into a better place.
Yeah. The crisis
So
usually shapes you, doesn't it? It's,
yeah,
I think we've all been through something, and it's actually helped along the way, even though we don't think it at the time. Could be the worst thing in the world at the time, of course, but it actually is a thing that shapes you into, because it could be something you could help somebody else with, to overcome if you've overcome it.
yeah,
And that is actually part and parcel of our own purpose, and how it feeds into the greater, to the sort of humanity purpose for to other people's purposes as well. Mm,
absolutely. So I think for me, recognizing it is the most important first step. Is okay, life
absolutely.
purpose. What have I then learned so far? And let's draw some conclusions from that before you move forward,
Yeah,
because there's an amazing richness in your backstory that you
there
quite
really is.
possibly just shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do I tip that fulcrum, and then how do I move forward with that richness behind me?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
instead of looking at your life as a series of problems, look at it as a series of just incredibly valued and varied experiences that have made you something quite special
Yeah.
and
And
ready to move
everything.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everything to be grateful for with it, that's
Yeah.
that you've become the person that you are now. As you say, Rob, when you look back, and see everything that you've done so far. All of us, we see everything we've done. We've traveled through this life, and come to this place, and here you are. This is your purpose right now. This is everything right now, and everything that you've gone through, you've come out the other side, and you're still here, and you're still surviving here. So what can you do to just come more from survival to actually being the happiest you can be, just working through all of the things that you've done so far, so far in life,
Exactly.
in work, in how you've even bad relationships can help you shape that the next relationship, you're going to do it differently, or going to help the current relationship, all of these things. I always say to clients is to actually, journal it, is to write it down, even because once you write it down, it just makes things even clearer. So that is one of the things we would advise you to do. That's what we've done. And it came as, for me, Robert, it came as almost by accident. I just thought, hang on a minute, for my life, I was, spent most of the time in office work, but I actually by accident ended up working and becoming a database manager. And from that, I am so into now being a bit geeky, but into DNA, and how DNA is our own sort of database storage capacity, and how we work with our DNA and the memories that are stored in everything, and how our human being is this sort of computer, if you like, of everything. This is why we know that, as well as everything else, your purpose is stored in there as well, all waiting to come out. So that is the first thing we would say, is just look at, just look at what's stored in your memories. Just look at all the things you've achieved so far, and even Rob mentioned earlier, some things did not work out. That's also part and parcel, of your purpose. You
Yeah.
tried something and it didn't work. Do we class it as a failure? No, of course, I don't think so. It's just part and parcel that you just pivot and you move on. And people tend, the ones that really say they can't find the purpose, I feel like they tend to look at everything as a bad thing. And I think that's another thing you've got to change. Instead of the bad things, just see them as the way we would progress, and work
Yeah.
towards, this moment in time.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd agree with you. So for me, I think it's take stock of who you are,
Hmm.
look at your life and evaluate it kindly and compassionately, and take the strengths from it. Look at your character traits and think, what is good about me? What do people recognize in me? What do people like about me? And then journal forward
Mm.
and think, okay, I've got this. I've arrived at this point in my life where I am this person. People see me as this person. Maybe it's different to how you see yourself. And then think, so what do I do? How do I combine those
Mm.
to head forward in a direction that is more about the truth of me? That's what we're looking for, is our own truth.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Not anybody
And
else's.
no, no, no. And it's not difficult. This is the thing.
Mm,
We put it under this great heading of soul purpose or life purpose, and it's quite frightening because I think
mm.
it's intimidating. How do I find
It
that out?
is.
And am I supposed to know that? Is that for me? Well, yes, of course it is, but it's already there. You agreed it when you arrived,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
hopefully by the time you exit at the other end, you'll have got through most of it, if not all.
Mm.
That's okay. There's no punishment for that either. So
There
it's
isn't,
just
is there?
about living your best now and being conscious.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yes, it's not a race. It's not a race at all.
not at all. There's
Yeah.
no finish line, and there is no judgment or anything to hold you back. Nothing you need to think, oh, well, I won't make it, so I won't do it because I can't
Mm.
finish that. You
Mm.
can. Just do it bit by bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Don't let anything, it's almost like don't let anything stop you. There's many things through the conditioning that we've talked about, through a lot of us comparing ourselves to others, or worrying about what other people think of us. What will somebody think if I didn't have this proper job and had this job that I liked instead, or just didn't go to work, but went traveling the world instead, what would people think of me? And we have to stop doing all of that. That's what's wasting. It's a sort of a very drag on
Yeah.
our energy, and it's wasting. So that's the sort of the next thing you could look at after looking at, what do you want to do in the future? What is it I really want to do? If money was no object, what would I want to do? And as Rob said, just go with that. Just if you want to learn how to, I mean, basically, I was in an office and just, some circumstances came up, and I wanted to learn. I'd always wanted to learn about beauty, and I went on a beauty course. I just did it on an evening, and guess what? I wasn't really interested in beauty after being thinking I was interested in beauty for about at least 10 years. But what I did was the next year I went on a massage course, and that caused a change, it's an absolutely change of my, course of my career. And I've been a massage therapist for 20 years now. But I would never have thought I was going to do that. But it's because I still stayed at work. So we're never telling anyone. I'm going to reiterate this. Not in one,
Yep.
not one chance are you just going to go swanning off from work, and just leaving your job and going off to do something. Try things out first. So, as a part-time thing, try things out, go do it as a hobby. My massage course was just something I wanted to do, and was a good social thing. Never in a million years would I thought it would turn into a job. But just if you're worried about this, just look at what's stopping you, just what things are stopping you. And if it is other people, remember they have their own purpose, but they also have their own conditioning. What conditioning do they have that's saying to you, that they're projecting their thoughts on you of you can't do that because. So look at anything where you're saying, I can't do that because.
Yeah. It's
Just
easier
start to
not
look
to
at
do
that.
something than to do something.
Yes.
Much
Yeah.
easier because we can all find an excuse at the drop of a hat. I
Yeah.
can't do that because. But actually, it's harder to get off and do something that you feel led to do. But you need to feel led to do it. So it's not, I better try this, I better try that. I'll flip around and try all
Mm.
sorts. Think about what you feel in your
Mm.
soul you need to do and go that direction.
Oh,
In a
yes,
small step,
absolutely.
just take a small step, read a book,
Yeah.
shut yourself out and meditate about it or think about it, for a better word.
Oh, definitely.
Just,
Mm.
find your own way into this and don't rely on other people too much. Because it's within us, it's within yourself.
Yes. Yes. We can't stress that enough.
Yeah,
Always
absolutely.
within yourself. Yes.
Yeah. Julie, how do you feel about, say, someone's arrived at this point and think, all right, I'm going to start exploring my spiritual truth and see if I can find that
Mm.
that honesty in myself? Should they go to someone? Worth talking to someone?
It is worth talking to somebody because, as we say, we've always got, there's always somebody else that can help you. But what you need to do, first of all, is just really what I would do is ask that. It's almost inside us. We're asking that question, that please, it's like just asking soul that question. Please allow us in it, however way you want to do it. You can say, please allow me to find somebody, something or someone that will help. So it might be someone, or like Rob said, it might be that you just find the book to start off with before you, find a practitioner to work with you. And sometimes it's even just a friend that you can just chat to start with, to just say, well, I think that's a really good idea. That's the kind of friend you want, not the friend that stops you doing anything. They can still be friends with you, but they're not
Yeah.
necessarily going to be the right sort of person. But yeah, if first thing I would do, can say please allow me, but I usually now command it. I usually do a command, just okay, this is what I want to feel like I need to do. Show me all the way, show me how I can be in alignment with it. I know it sounds, again, alignment sounds a cliche, but show me the way, show me how to do it. Bring the people that I need into my space. And that's how I do it, Rob, with everything. And then start watching out for all these little synchronicities. Somebody might come in. It might be that you're just looking at something through Facebook or through, a YouTube video, and somebody will be there to, telling you everything that you need to hear to help you. So yes, definitely have a look at that, but don't just go to the first person you can think of, without really sort of getting that gut feeling. That's what we talked about before once, wasn't it,
Yeah,
Rob? That don't just go to somebody because somebody else said they were okay as well. Not that it's good to get testimonials and work with somebody who's got good testimonials, for instance, but what works for somebody doesn't always work for you. So it's that gut feeling that you need to start getting, and which is why you work on your own and look at maybe meditating just for a little while before you go further afield and ask further afield.
absolutely.
Do you have
And
any thoughts on that, Rob? Because did I say
yeah,
that right?
yeah. No, you did. I think what's really important for people is they voice this.
Mm,
And
mm,
thoughts and
mm.
words are energies.
Yes.
So if you
Good.
if you voice or think the positiveness of this and what you can
Yes.
achieve through it, you set out this ripple that will
You
attract.
do.
You know,
Yes.
really, really important. And likewise, if you put out negatives, which is the oh, I can't, or
Mm,
I'm too busy, or whatever excuse you've decided to come up with, then you'll do the same thing. That your energy
exactly.
will not be positive, and you will
Yeah.
you will reject things that are just waiting in your circumference to come to you,
Absolutely. Yeah.
because
You
they
just
are just waiting out there for you to find them,
yeah.
to recognize them, and to grasp them. So
And you
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Just start. And if you are looking to work with someone, you're absolutely right, Julie. You have to go with what your gut tells you.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
could talk about, is that your gut? Is that your soul? Is it whatever? Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Just if it feels good, try.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're unsure or it doesn't feel right, maybe think about it before you try it.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work for you, stop.
Absolutely. You
Don't
just
feel
you just know
obliged.
you have to
Just
pivot.
stop. Yeah,
You just pivot, yeah, stop and
yeah,
rethink, recalculate if you want to say that,
yeah,
and just ask again. Just keep asking, or as I say, I now command because it's okay because we're only commanding ourselves, and just literally, command. I really want to find this out. Show me the way. So yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Yes.
or
And
however you want to say it.
yeah, command and demand are two different words. So we're
Mm.
not stamping our foot and saying I want.
No,
Co is together.
yeah,
So it is
yeah,
let us do this together. So command, I think, is exactly the right word
yeah,
or
yeah,
phrase to use.
yeah. Yeah, it's always command isn't what you think.
Yeah,
Command
exactly.
isn't,
Yeah,
is it? It's
yeah,
not what you think. And as I say, at the
yeah.
end of the day, you're only asking yourself anyway, so it doesn't matter. But you're doing it. The reason we say about command is you're setting that intention. And I always say,
Right.
do a declaration. This is what I want. This is what I want to learn. This is what I want to step forward into. So it's almost like that, setting that, big declaration and intention.
Yeah,
Because if you don't, as you say, Rob, if you don't, you're almost and you're going to go, well, I'm not quite sure if I can do this. I'd really like it, oh, but I don't know. All you're going to get is the people that are confirming that you don't knows, if that makes sense, that,
yeah,
and you're unsures. It's just going to find you, everything's going to find you. The universe, if you like, is going to find you all the people that agree with you that, no, you shouldn't be doing this,
yeah,
instead of, and agreeing with your falseness, not agreeing with your truth. So when we talk about truth, it's what's inside you again.
yeah,
It's how you feel. When we say what's inside you in terms of the truth, what feels expansive to your soul, what feels so exciting. It might be that you feel a little bit fear, it might be feel that you're a little bit nervous, but what feels exciting for you to do, rather than what feels quite suppressive, what feels like it's just depleting your system. And that's a little bit of your gut feeling, a very tiny bit on working on your gut feeling.
absolutely.
What-
And don't be scared of making mistakes. They're absolutely fine, and they're part of
Mm,
the process. And if you
mm.
don't try and make a mistake, you don't learn anything at all.
Yeah, yeah,
So
you'd never know.
don't regard mistakes as a problem or a failure. They're just
Mm,
stepping stones.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
So, what should we leave our friends with? What's your
Hmm.
takeout from that, Julie?
Yeah, well, let's just just to summarize, what we want to do is tell you to stop trying to find your big purpose out
Yeah,
there and to understand and start looking within and start, like we say, maybe meditating, literally just work with, within yourself. What is it? What is it you want to do based on what your life is, what your life has been all along, and what's stopping you doing that? And when you find out what's stopping you doing that, it might just be that it's just part of your fear. Just go and, like grab the universe, grab everything you can. Learn how to do something if it's something you've wanted to do and not done it before, or just take action. A lot of the reasons why people can't find the purpose is to stop themselves. Nobody else does. They stop themselves taking action, and take action, despite anybody else saying it's the wrong thing to do. Just think about, is it the right thing for me? Is it the right thing for you to do? Not according to somebody else. So I think I
yeah,
think that's summarized everything.
absolutely. Just work with integrity, and you cannot go
Mm.
wrong.
Yeah,
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 you can't, because
exactly.
there is no wrong.
Yeah, yeah,
Great, well summed up. And of course, if anybody wants to reach out to us, we're here to help.
we are
Answer
definitely.
questions, leave any comments you want to. We'll try and get back to you. But please feel free, talk to us, because we've traveled a journey together, and I think we
Mhm.
can probably help people now.
We are. We're
Yeah,
definitely, like we always have done. We are just here. This is the reason why we're doing this. We just want to, reach out and help people and show people, the truth as we would know it. Our own truth, and which is, more not to stop yourself doing things. So yes,
exactly,
please
exactly.
please let us know what you think. All right.
Thanks for listening.